And hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge back once again with a video which isn't comic related for once. I am doing the occasional bits of video game related content on my channel because it's my channel and I want to. And in this case, this is going to be a video that's going to go into my video game playlist, but also my coffee table book playlist. So if you're interested in coffee table books and you've got even the vaguest interest in video games, you might want to stick around. In the next few months at some point, I'm going to drop a series about video game emulation, and this is, I guess, a prelude to that. What I want to talk about are some great coffee table books that would be a real help for any retro gamer who's looking to get into emulation. So, what I'm looking at here, and I'm looking at a whole series of these, are books by a guy called Chris Scullion. He's British, I think he's Scottish, and he's a video game journalist with 15-20 years experience, and what he's done is a great series of encyclopedias of retro games. Now, I'm just going to rattle through them here. One of them turned up in the post today, so this, I guess, is the closest I get to ever doing an unboxing video. As you can see, the first one I want to talk about is the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis one. There aren't many overviews of this on the internet, which is, of course, the reason why I would do something like this. So here we have it. It's a hardcover. It's got a little bit of history of the Mega Drive, but doesn't really faff around with that very much. And then it just goes into a straight up alphabetical order of every single video game ever released outside Japan. So this is North America, Europe, places like that. There are some Brazilian exclusive ones, so European exclusive ones, and so on and so forth. But it's every single Genesis video game, Genesis and Sega Mega Drive, obviously they are the same console, and it's just a dive into all of them. At no point does it have like real deep dive scrutinies of any of the games. So for example, if you are into stuff like that, I'd strongly recommend looking at video game books by publishers such as Bitmap Books. But what I would say is that if you're after an exhaustive encyclopedia, this is absolutely the way forward. I really enjoyed reading this. I've used this as a reference while sort of getting used to retro gaming and looking a little bit at emulation, looking a bit at improving my own physical collection of retro games. It's really good. He's also got a great sense of humour, very kind of wry, pithy, self-deprecating humour here, very British, I suppose. But yeah, it's a really good book. Highly recommended. You can pick it up. It's not out of print. None of his books are out of print, and there's a bookmark there. It also has a section here which is a bonus section on the Mega CD or Sega CD, depending on what part of the world you're in, which I haven't got to yet. I've just finished reading all the Mega Drive ones, so really looking forward to this. And then, as well as having a Mega CD section, he also has a section for the 32X. Now, I recently bought a book on the 32X by Sean Long, who's a YouTuber also known as RGT85, and that was okay. Didn't regret buying that. It was interesting. But this is just, you know, kind of the exhaustive encyclopedic version. Haven't read that bit of it yet, but really looking forward to checking it out. And then, of course, an index at the back. So that's the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis Encyclopedia. Chris Scullion has also done the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, this is the American-looking Nintendo. But yeah, similar thing. It's a hardcover. There's the spine, there's the back. And let's just dive straight into it. Similar sort of thing. It's got a little bit of information, kind of like a personal bio introduction as to why he's into this and his own experience with the console. And then, yeah, again, we just have a long alphabetical, exhaustive dive through. One of the reasons I found these books really useful as I was going through kind of working out what I wanted in my own video game collection is that the Sega Mega Drive and SNES era is a really interesting era in video games. It's kind of the key area when I grew up and I got into video games. I don't really play anything prior to this era because it's too retro for me. The same way that with video games, with comics, I don't read anything prior to about the mid-90s because it's too retro for me. So in this case, this is really my jam. This is really an era that I really enjoy. And an interesting thing at this era for video games is that quite often you would get video games where you get two games being released at the same time with the same name. So, for example, Jurassic Park, maybe one of them, where you'd have, oh, here you are, King of the Monsters. So King of the Monsters, I think King of the Monsters 1 was completely different to King of the Monsters 1 on Mega Drive, but King of the Monsters 2 was exactly the same, or vice versa. My point is, it's quite often you will get a SNES game and a Mega Drive game with the exact same name, released at the exact same time, but they're completely different games. And these two books were really useful for kind of understanding when there were times where there were games where it's like, oh, I don't need this because it's a duplicate, If I have it on one console, why would I want it on the other? And then other times where I'd be like, oh, actually, these games both have the same name, they're of the same property, they're released at the same time, but actually they were developed by completely different companies. A really great example of that is something like Aladdin. I think Aladdin, which came out in the early 90s, there was a different version at every single console it was on, be that Mega Drive, Master System, SNES, Game Gear, every single one was a different version. And it's really interesting reading this, of finding that out. Here's another one, Sparkster. Sparkster is the sequel to Rocket Knight Adventures, which was originally on the Mega Drive. Mega Drive then had a sequel, which was called Sparkster, and then the SNES then had that sequel, Sparkster, but they're both completely different games. So having one on one console doesn't obviate the need to have it on both of them. And that's the kind of information and really useful insight that I found these encyclopedias incredibly helpful for. And like I say, they're a fun read, they're well put together, very well produced, and just really good. So this is the SNES one. I'll be honest, I haven't dived into it in a huge amount of detail yet. I'm still going through it in exhaustive, slow, step-by-step, page-by-page detail from the Mega Drive version. But it does have a bonus section, which is the Virtua Boy, which I know nothing about. I do not plan on ever playing Virtua Boy games, but I'm still going to get a kick out of reading about it. So that is the SNES one. Not content there. He has also done one on the N64. So the N64, a console I got a lot of personal affection for. I bought one when it came out. I remember playing this as a kid, Super Mario 64, Jet Force Gemini, that sort of thing. This hardcover, whilst it's about the same thickness as the previous ones, actually also includes all the Japanese and 64 Double D games. Now, I haven't read this, I haven't looked through it. All I know is that it's roughly the same. Obviously, it's got a forward and intro, and then it goes through all the usual stuff. So an exhaustive alphabetical breakdown of all the books. A lot more of the games in this appear to be single-page spreads, and I think that's simply because there are a lot fewer N64 games. That's why Chris Scullion's been able to put in things like the Japanese games. Oh, Extreme G. This is one of my favourite game franchises of all time. Extreme G3 is one of my favourite games ever, and one day I might do a video talking about how amazing it is, and of course how amazing I am at it. But yeah, cannot wait to be reading more about this. Like I say, so this is an N64 breakdown. It also has all the Japanese games in theory and the 64 DD games. I don't know much about the N64 disk drive, 64 DD, and what that meant, but I'm looking forward to learning more about it. Mischief Makers, really weird game. It's by Treasure, who I adore as a publisher, but it was an odd game. I remember buying it and playing it as a kid and then thinking, this isn't like Gunstar Heroes. I'm looking forward to knowing more about it and then hopefully playing it again now I'm getting more into my retro gaming. So yeah, again, this looks excellent. I haven't looked at it at all. But this is a really nice coffee table book to have, and if you're into video games, I would strongly recommend having a game like this. So having a book like this, because much like my shelf full of comic book coffee table books, it's always nice to have something like this if you're into video games. Now here we are, Japanese games. Right, slightly different colours. Gone for a greeny teal. Either way, these are Japanese ones. It's nice that they're segmented out. I didn't realise that. Mahjong. So many Japanese games are just different variations of Mahjong. It's slightly wild. Cool. Here we are. And then I must have blinked and missed it, but I'm sure there was disk drive games in there somewhere. That's the N64 guide. And then that brings me to today's encyclopedia. This turned up in the post literally today. This has just been released. Dreamcast guide. Includes every Japanese game. Again, I assume because there weren't many Dreamcast games, so Chris Scullion was able to fit that in without making a volume that's too unwieldy. Although, frankly, you know, I'm all about it getting thicker and thicker. The omnibus collector in me as a comic collector would be more than happy with that. But interesting breakdown here of Dreamcast. I have literally not opened this. I took this out of the Amazon packaging about 10 minutes ago. I don't normally do haul videos. In fact, I've never done a haul video and I never will do an unboxing video. I think they're psychologically quite damaging for people that do them. But from my point of view, this is the closest I'm going to get to it, and I've been kind of waiting to do an overview of all these books. So very excited when this turned up in the post today. So Dreamcast. I had a Dreamcast. I've got a few fond memories of it. I remember playing Cannon Spike. Here we are. Cannon Spike on the Dreamcast, and trying to convince people it existed. Like, if you play Cannon Spike and no one else knows about it, you try to explain to them what it is, Street Fighter characters on roller skates shooting guns, people will think that you're making it up. Anyway, really like the Dreamcast. I've got a bunch of Dreamcast games, but I've no doubt there are loads that I don't know about, or I've forgotten, or I've missed out. And so I'm really looking forward to going through this in exhaustive detail. Again, it looks like there's quite a lot of full pages here, rather than the quarter pages we were seeing over here. And I think that's simply because there's fewer games and there's more time for this to breathe. Power Stone, so much fun playing this. Cool. Anyway, I haven't seen any other videos online talking through the Scullion books, especially at the Dreamcast one. This just came out. I'm not trying to get ahead of the algorithm, as hardly as if this is going to make waves on YouTube. But if it's not out there, I always try to make videos on it. And especially if you've been on the fence about picking up any of these encyclopedia books, I would strongly recommend checking them out. I wholeheartedly endorse them. I think they're great. I really enjoy them. The 1.5 that I've read has been fantastic. I have absolutely no reservations about recommending any of these. What's in orange? Why has this gone to orange? Aha, Japanese. Oh, I didn't even know there was a light going for the Dreamcast. Cannot wait for Chris Scullion to do the next few. He's apparently got a list or a publishing deal with Pen and Sword, who do this, to do Saturn, PlayStation, Game Boy Advance, a bunch of other ones. He has done another book, which I don't have, which is the Encyclopedia for the NES, which is an 8-bit system that kind of predates the SNES. I'm not going to get that. I haven't bought it. I'm not going to get it because that's a little bit too retro for me. Similarly, if he does a guide for Master System, which I think is on his roadmap, then I won't be picking that up. But I would be picking up stuff like Game Gear, stuff like I say, PlayStation, Sega Saturn, definitely, absolutely cannot wait for that. Sega Saturn's such a nostalgic console for me. I absolutely loved it. So, yeah, I have 4 of the Chris Scullion books, and I really enjoy them. I'll be interested to see what else he does. I'm very keen to continue supporting him and picking up more of his books in the future. Within reason, like I say, 8-bit's a bit too retro for my blood. But as we can see, that is this collection. So, let's have a look at it and see what it would look like on the shelf. I'm not going to put it on my shelf. Here you are. Spines. It's a little bit annoying, I'll be honest, it's a little bit annoying that the spines don't match up. This is just like what is this? This is annoying, but I can get over that. It's not a big deal. And in a way, if you're going to have stuff like the actual font of the console here, it would have been nice if they'd actually done that for the N64 and had like a little Mega Drive or Genesis, you know, the black and silver thing. So that would have been a bit nicer. But who am I to complain? Really enjoyed it. Would highly recommend it. But the video's not over yet. These are 4 coffee table books about video games, but I do have another one. So I became aware of, thanks to the Amazon algorithm, a French company that does these video game anthology books. Now I think Chris Scullion, over there, is intending to do a GameCube book, and I look forward to that. But this French company does other anthology books. They've done PlayStation, they've done GameCube, they've done Nintendo 64 and SNES and stuff. Anyway, I picked this up quite recently, dirt cheap, and I haven't looked at it yet. I've no idea what's in it. It's got a lot of stuff here which isn't game related from what I can tell, so loads of background. It's all been translated into English, so they do translate them into English. It's got loads of background on the launch of the GameCube, the history of the GameCube, kind of the popularity, the politics, the financial model, I suppose even, you know, it eventually becoming obsolete. Oh, are these pages stuck together? Not in a dodgy way, this is just literally brand new out the shrink wrap. And then it does loads of stuff about the technology behind it, so there's loads of background here, whereas the encyclopedias only touch on that very lightly, then dive into the games. This anthology has a lot more. Bloody hell, it's got loads. And now we dive into the games. So in the similar vein to the ones that we've just been looking at, this is an alphabetical list. I haven't read it, I haven't looked at it. Apparently it's quite good. It's had great reviews on Amazon. I picked it up dirt cheap, which is lucky because all the other ones made by this company are out of print and go for loads. Like we're talking like £100, £150 a piece. So this may just be a one-off that I have on my shelf. But yeah, does anyone out there that's watching this have one of these? Have you read them? Do you like them? Would you be interested in collecting them? I don't know. I just thought I'd show it, given I'm doing a video on video game related coffee table books. This looks good. Very well formatted. Wow, double page spread in here. Double page? Yeah, double page spread for Resident Evil 4. Can't knock that. Yeah, overall, have to say this looks nice. Glad I have this in my collection. If you're into coffee table books, then these ones, which are, as I say, if you just type in GameCube Anthology or PlayStation Anthology, ooh, Extreme G3, best game of all time. Oh, it's got unreleased games as well. It's got cancelled games. It's got all sorts. Yeah, if you look for this online, you shouldn't have a problem finding it. Oh, I think it was originally Kickstarted. Is that what it says? Yeah, it was originally Kickstarted. Well, that explains why I probably didn't know anything about it. It's written by someone called Matthew Manent, and the company is Geeksline that make it. Something to be aware of. Well, whilst all the books over there all fit together, this is a different size. It is shorter and it is deeper. So on a shelf, it won't quite match up to the Scullion pen and sword books if you get that. But I can only hope that if you got all of these, they would all line up. For my money, I'm going to carry on getting all the Chris Scullion ones I can get. And these I'll keep an eye on, see if I can track them down. But given they're out of print, this might just be a one-off anomaly in my collection. Okay, hopefully that was a helpful overview of some coffee table books. Last thing, and just a quick one, this. I actually have a Chris Scullion book, which I have in hardcover, and I actually have the paperback. This is the original one that I bought. I found it in a second-hand shop. I picked it up for just a couple of pounds, started looking through it, really enjoyed it, and then I went out my way and picked up all the hardcovers, and I really like it. As a result, this is spare. So, I could stick it on eBay, but I frankly can't be bothered. So I'm going to do something I do occasionally on my channel, and I'm going to continue doing sort of haphazardly as time goes on, which I'm going to do a giveaway. If you're watching this video and you're interested in having this for free, then just leave a comment down below saying that you want it. And I'll reply whenever I get around to it in the next few days, next few weeks. And I'll ask you to email me your details, and I'll post it to you at my own cost, absolutely at my own cost. This is only available to the UK, because I don't fancy like posting it to America or anywhere else, because that'll cost me loads. So it's only available in the UK. I'm not going to send it a tract. If it gets lost on the way, what are you going to do? I'm not asking anyone for money for it, so I'm not going to go out of my way to pay a huge amount to get it sent out. But I will send it out. I'll just box it up, send it out if anyone wants it. It's a free paperback version of the SNES Encyclopedia by Chris Scullion. To anyone who is watching and would be interested. So yeah, please leave a comment down below if you are. First come, first served, basically. Unless I guess you've won one of my previous giveaways, in which case I don't want to send something out to someone who have sent something out before. So I'm going to try and do these giveaways as I do them over the next couple of months. So it's just each person just gets one. So if you want this, say you want it, I'll send it out to you. And then hopefully you'll enjoy it. And genuinely, the reason I'm doing it is, trying to put a bit of positive vibe back into the universe. And more importantly, if you're on the fence about it, if you're not sure about it, if you get this and you do like it, then please do pick up some others, buy them from Amazon, buy them from Pen and Sword directly. Support the guy, because this looks like very much a labour of love. And yeah, definitely worth supporting that sort of stuff. Anyway, thanks for indulging the random video all. Alright, thanks for watching everybody. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, please follow me on Twitter at @IamThomasJudge, where I will post a daily review of whatever comics I've been reading. You can get an idea of what I'm up to on the channel. And as always, please support the channel by heading over to Amazon.com and checking out my prose novel about superheroes. It's a completely original piece of work. The first episode in it is called Arrivals, and the series as a whole is called No Gods or Kings. You can find an excerpt of that on my website, nogodsorkings.com. Until next time, everybody, stay classy.